Hi, everyone. I hope everybody have a great day. So in this presentations, I want to talk about realizing rapid conceptual design with kitbashing and HDRP. My name is Bondhan Kimbalazani. I am a senior artist in content productions unit at Life and Digital. I'm here with my colleague Adrian Quek, a lighting artist. So this is the agenda for today. So we're going to split this presentation into two parts. The first one is going to be large libraries and the kitbash 3D demo. And then the next one is Adrian's going to talk about lighting and HDRP related with the demo that we created. All right, the first one is large libraries and kitbash 3D demo. So what is large libraries? Large libraries is the Unity initiative to integrate high quality assets into Unity content ecosystem. And why do we do this? So as we know, Asset Store already have hundreds of thousands of assets available ready for users. So, however, we believe that we can do better, and we want to push the quality bar even higher. So, if you want to do it ourselves to build these large libraries, it will take us years. So, and a lot of effort. So, the most rational path for us to take is to partner with like already established assets libraries out there. And the one that we identified very early on was kitbash. So how do we do this large libraries initiative? So the first one is we identify valuable content libraries and publishers outside Unity that we want to bring in. And then like the keyword here is valuable. They need to have like high quality libraries, and then they need to be also useful for the users. The next thing is we take some of their sample content, and then we do benchmarking. Like we see like how's the quality of the assets, the textures, and everything, and then we provide documentations based on that, and then like we make a plan, like what do we need to do with these assets to work with the Unity ecosystem. Then once we identify the assets, the problems, and then like the what we need to do, we plan on automations again, because like as the name says, is large libraries. So potentially we will deal with like hundreds or maybe thousands of assets. To do it like manually, that will take a lot of time, and we simply don't have the resource to do that. So like we need to leverage the automations in this. So yeah, and then like the main goal for this initiative is to make it easy for high quality publisher to bring their content into Unity. And the first large library partner is kitbash 3D. kitbash is a really high quality assets library that their content's already been used by film industry, like big name in the film industry, like Marvel, Fox, Disney, and HBO. And they also been used by AAA game studios. Like in this example, it's like EA, Ubisoft, Square Enix, and Tencent. And they also been used by indie as well. So it just makes sense for us to partner with them. Before we go to the kitbash 3D, I want to talk about like what's kitbashing in general. So kitbashing means like combining different assets to create something original and new. So it's not actually a new term. So it starts with the model kit community. So they took like two or multiple different assets or kits, and then they combine them into like a new kits like this one. Like it's the cockpit of a helicopter combined with the shapes of like a very short plane, and rockets, and voila, you got like your new unique vehicles things. It's also popular with the concept art people as well. So this is from Ben Morrow. So instead of like drawing everything from scratch, you can use like the photo of a 2D, like a photo, and then combine them with with the 3D elements. That way, like you get like the perspective correct, and it's also potentially faster as well. So it's an alternative way to compare with like having to draw them from scratch. And then in real-time 3D, it's just exploding like everywhere. If you go to ArtStations and then you search for Kit Bash, you will get tons of like this kind of like Kit Bash assets, because it just makes sense. Like Kit Bash makes sense because you just need to create something once, and then you can use it in many different use case. And that's the reason like why we want the Kit Bash, because like it enables teams or individual to make prototypes or polish final project faster, rather than like you have to build them like manually from scratch every single time. So one of the example here is like, so say like me as an artist, and then like my art director came to me and then like, Bondhan, I want you to make a robot horse. Okay, there are multiple ways that I can tackle this. I can create the mechanical body part of a horse and like tailored made for those for this horse, or I can just take the this like Kit Bash pack of a spaceships like that looks mechanical, and then repurpose them and combine them into a horse. And this is what it looks like. So it's possible to do this. Like this is not mine though, unfortunately. I would love to be able to do something like this, but this is from the Kit Bash 3D blog. So there's actually somebody that actually repurposed this amazing looking spaceships kit into a horse. So what is Kit Bash 3D pack? So Kit Bash 3D packs are model kits in various themes. So from various futuristic city like this Neo Dubai, Neo Shanghai, Tokyo, Brooklyn, to the to like street level props like this cyber street here. They look like this. So like there's like various small meshes or objects up until like the very large one, and they are all like pre-assembled, so you can like directly use them and plop them into your scene and create something new, some things like this. So the like when it's just like you just need to use your imaginations and then like start building new things from the kits provided. All right, so as we see here, visually they are beautiful, like they're great, and they've been used by professional in various different projects. So it's battle tested, like it's beautiful, it's useful. But to make them like Unity ready, like there are various ways that needs to be done to them. So mainly needs some of the meshes and the textures and materials. And unique to Unity is prefabs, because like we need prefabs, right? So so meshes and prefabs. So the Kit Bash 3D assets are mainly used on pre-rendered project. So their meshes are denser, like there are tons of triangles, like a lot of triangles, and they're not specifically designed for Unity and or real-time applications, really. So they're also, when we got them early on, like this is what we got. So like they come with in this this kind of format here. So like it's in a DCC file format. So in this case, it's Maya, but they also come in different DCC formats like 3ds Max or Blender or other Cinema 4D probably. and other DCC. So we can't really use this directly into Unity, because then it's just like, it's too hard to do it like this. It makes sense like for DCC, because like you want everything like all in one scene, and then just like drag them into the scene, the same scene. But with game engine, there are better ways to do it. So what we need to do is like, we need to individually extract them, each of these assets, into separate FBX. And also, they also need to have prefabs, all of them, each of them. So first, what we did was like, we extract the scene informations, because like they have like some informations embedded in it, like the textures informations, the positions, the rotations, and all that. So what we did was like, we bring them and like we replicate them in Unity. So and in the process, we also do the cleanup, and also making sure that, because like they come like in various different DCC, right? And they have like different settings of pivot. So we need to make sure that they are aligned correctly when we bring them into Unity. And also like in the process, we also do the automations of the separating them into like separate prefabs, and also FBX. Another things that we did was like, we look into, because like, again, initially they are not actually made for real-time applications or real-time projects. So the mesh are denser. So like, we need to find a way to make them usable within the game engine. So we look into like automating the load generations. So we do some tests, and like we ended up using the InstaLoad, and it works really well. Textures and materials. So we in this one, so we have a look at their normal maps, and then we make sure that it uses the OpenGL formats instead of DirectX. So it's just like to make sure that the light's behavior are correct, and is as expected, that as intended, like when they create these textures and assets. We also make sure that the textures are using the power of 2. So it's like your 512 or 1024 or 248, that kind of stuff. And the last thing is like, that's important, is we need to have like the channel pack mask map, because we want to use like a standard materials with the pack. We try not to create custom shaders with the pack, because then like you need like extra maintenance and that kind of stuff. So what we did was we create an automations process that do this channel packing. So like, we took like various maps that are provided by KitBash3D, and then we channel pack them into the mask map. So it's your typical mask map. So red channel is going to be metallic, and then like the green is going to be occlusion, and alpha is smoothness. Right. So we're working on this together with KitBash3D to automate like most of the process. And after all the treatment on the meshes, we create prefabs, and then like we do like the setups in the textures and materials. This is what we got. So it's as you can see here, like they are they work like beautifully. Like this is like in HDRP. So each of them like now have prefabs, and they're like correctly structured as well, and with like proper naming, and also the textures and materials are properly set up. So that's it's a win, because like, and also like we did this on all packs. Like there are plenty of packs that are KitBash3D provided, and it's all like works really well, because like we automate everything. And now they're available in the asset store. Another thing that we did was like we we automate the output of the different render pipelines. So we have each packs will have like 2 versions. So there's the built-in and the HDRP, and we did this like automatically as well on all packs. So that's great. And they're now available in the Asset Store. All right, so now like we with the pack is launched, and like they're available in the Asset Store. So we want to showcase like the usability of this KitBash 3D demo, KitBash 3D pack, because like we spent a lot of time we spent quite a lot of time to do the process of converting them into Unity. So we want to make sure that they are actually useful. Like we just want to showcase that it's useful, and it's like to showcase the Unity as well, because that's why we come up with this this demo video. All right, so that was the demo that we created to for the KitBash 3D launch. Next is I want to talk about the making of the demo actually, and we'll go through the phases of it. So we're gonna go through the concept phase, the blocking, and then kit bashing, and also the detailing part. So right, the first one is concept. Concept, we don't actually have like proper concepts for the demo. It's partially because like the time is tight, like we don't really have like a lot of time to work on that, and also like because like we know that we have a good assets to work with, and so we just like try to find like the image that we want to kind of do. So we go to our stations and then look at the various like environment that's available, like that people done, and then like we took like several images from the internet. So like this one is like we really like it because like there's layers in the image. So like there's the foreground elements, and then at the back, like the further on, there's this tall buildings in the vista, and that's like the kind of like directions that we want to go with. So we want to have like layers, like there's the foreground element, the midground element, and then the vista at the very distance. And then like this is another images again, like there's the buildings like closer to the camera, and then there's the building, like the tall building at the vista, like very far back. This is the reference for the lighting, so that we take. So it's gonna be like this brown fog with the blue sky and with slightly overcast like situations. All right. So once the very like it's a very rough concept. So like once the very rough concept established, like we go straight to Unity, and we do blocking. So we use like cubes and simple shapes in this. So we're not like looking at details at all at this stage. It's just like we just want to make sure that the shapes are good, and like we do like the layering things. So that we expected, and then like this is like another block out that we did. So see, like we're just still like using the cubes and blocks, but like in this one, there's like a slightly more refined assets. This like we use a snaps package here to do the block out, but like we keep them until like the final productions as well. So I'm gonna talk about the snaps assets in the next few slides. So yeah. So now that we have this block out, like we need to decide like what kind of style that we want to go with. There are plenty of kit bash 3D packs, so we need to decide like what sort of style that we want to go with. So we go to the kit bash 3D packs and we check out their stuff, and this is what we go with. The first one is the Neo Tokyo 2. So it's your tall buildings and then like very modern building with chopped like a top. There's like plenty of variations on the small one as well, and we think like it's gonna works really well with the Neo Shanghai. They're similar but different, because like this one is like there's like some pointy elements, and then like the roofs are like there's like a diagonally chopped, and this like slightly more modern architectural. Also, if you remember, like in the shots, like we start like from the ground, and then like the camera will move up until like the rooftops. So we need to have like some props like that looks great on the ground level as well. That's why like we think like we need these cyber street props. Also, we use the as I mentioned, like in the previous block out, like this is like in this one. We use the snaps assets. Snaps assets are assets that are originally created by the asset store team. There are several different themes in it, and they looks great. So and it works really well when we combine them with the kit bash 3D packs. So go ahead and check them out. Right. So we decide the pack that we want to use. So like we start to replace the block out with the proper kit bash and snaps assets. So this is what it looks like. So we have this, if you remember, like the block outs, and then like start placing the proper meshes, and things start to look more lively. And you start to see like all the shapes, all the skyscraper. It looks like a proper environment, like a proper city, and it gives the illusion that it's a real place. And this is what this is what it looks like in the editor. So as you can see here, like we populate only the area where the camera can see, and we don't really care like the sides, but we still have like some props, because like it's just with the use of the kit bash 3D, it's just too easy like to add details, because they are all like pre-assembled, so you can like add details like real quick, and it's making it more fun like to make the scene. Right. So next, I want to show like some of the before and after shots. So this is the before. So as you can see, like this is the blockings, no details at all. And then like we start to add the kit bash 3D packs, and you can see like the contrast between both of them. It looks much more like realistic. Right. So the next one is this shots. Like we've seen this before in the block out. So this is the initial shots, and then this is the after shots. So looks pretty similar, but then like you see here, there's a difference between the vista. Initially, like we decide like we want to go with the like a hero buildings, but then like the directions change like in the productions, and that's very normal like in a VFX or game industry. So there will be like changes every time, and because like we use the kit bash packs, it's make it, or the pre-assembled pack, that makes it like easier, like when we want to do some changes, because it's a matter of like moving like one big monolithic objects instead of like having to disassemble like the whole things. All right, so and another one is like I want to quickly mention about the asset store assets that we use. So we use the auto probes, like this is like to automatically place the light probes throughout the scene, and then the easy mesh combiner and bird flock. We use it for the background ambient birds, and we also use the fly particle systems to do the moth like around the lights. It's just like to add some nice feeling to the scene. All right, so the scene is there, like we have like all the details, like all the structures, but if we want to bring it to the next level, like we need to have like the extra details in them. And in this case, like we use decals. Like I love decals. Like I think decals are like environment artist's best friend, really. Because like if you want to add details, you use decals. Like that's the best way, in my opinion. That's the best way to do it. And another way is we use like VFX to bring extra life to the scene. Right. The first one is decals. Decals are used very extensively in the project. So if you see here, like in this GIF, you will see like the icon, like all these icons are decals. So like many of the imperfections, many of the cracks, many of the dirts, they are created using decals. Because of course, like you can create, there are various ways to do it. Like you can create like custom shaders, and then like you can do like the vertex painting probably. But this way with decals, it's just, you can like, you have more controls, and you kind of like, what you see is what you get. Like you can move them around, and then you can like scale them. It's really good. Another thing is like we use like with snaps and KitBash package, they come with like plenty of textures that they're not actually intended to be used as a decal projector, but we use them, and then like we repurpose them into decals. So many of the graffiti, many of the signage, they are all like using this kind of thing. So like we just plop them into the decal materials, and voila, you got your decals. Okay, so we also use decal in conjunctions with shader graph. So in this instance, like we use it for puddle around the scene. So for the puddles, like we want to have more variations in them. So we create a shader graph that takes like three inputs of the puddle shapes, and then we in the shader graph we create nodes that do alert randomly between them based on the world position. So like when you move the decals, it will like change. It will choose like different shapes randomly. And then like we also use we also add the extra control for smoothness, shapes, color, and opacity in the shader graph. And yeah, like this is what it looks like in the scene. Right. So we need like VFX like within the scene. Like this is like one of the things that's gonna bring the scenes to life. So, but we don't have like a dedicated VFX artist in the project. So what we need to find a way to add VFX. So what we decided to do was like we're gonna use the various VFX samples from Unity sample project. So the first one is the spaceship demo. It's a beautiful project, like with lots of like nice visual effects. So we go through them and then like see like which one that we think like we can use within this the project. So we decide like to go with the smokes and the sparks, and yeah, like that looks amazing. Like the smokes, like we use them everywhere in the scene. And the next one is the visual effects graph samples. So this is the from this one, like we took the hologram VFX. So the hologram used a depth-based camera render out. So you can like project like any correctly tagged asset as a hologram. In this case, like we use it to we create like a basic characters, and then like we add like a looping animations, and then boom, you got your holograms. Right. So after all this process, like the concept, blocking, git bashing, adding decals, adding VFX, the scene starts to come together. Like yeah, like it looks much more lively, and like it looks like a real city. But we're still like missing something. It's like we're still missing the lighting and the post processing that will glue the scene together. And that's what my colleague Adrian will talk about next. Take it away.
So on to lighting and HDRP. My name is Adrian, and I'm the lighting artist for the content production unit for Life and Digital. To best showcase what KitBash 3D and Unity has to offer, we made a few decisions of what we wanted to do for the demo. We wanted to showcase KitBash 3D's library of cityscape packs. And as a challenge, we wanted to do a cityscape that's different from conventional sci-fi cities. As a 30 to 45 second teaser video, there's not a lot to set context and storytelling. And in order to still evoke some emotions to the audience, we decided to incorporate a nice transition of colors to tell a story without words. What about real-time lighting? To really showcase the potential of kitbashing as a workflow, it's important to be able to show how rapid iterations and instant feedback is beneficial. Because the demo is mostly a visual demo, lighting plays a role in establishing the mood and composition as well. Hence, it's also important we make full use of the power of HDRP in delivering that visual quality. HDRP was developed for use in high-end real-time production, and its suite of features will allow us to hit our goals. Having a physically based parameter setup allows us to use real-world data to drive the initial setup for lighting, to really get us closer to the level of realism we wanted before artistic freedom can come in. The volume system is also very useful in quickly isolating parts of the scene with specific settings we wanted to affect. Lastly, the post-process workflow has the familiar toolset to what you would see in the professional color grading software. And here's a look at what we managed to achieve with all of those ingredients in place. With the help of kitbashing and real-time iteration to give us the freedom to really iterate and reach the final product. So we really used the fullest extent of what HDRP offers in its volume system to really get the initial setup out of the way before we start iterating. We decided early on that we will use one global volume for all scene-wide overrides, like the fog, the sky, and the shadow settings, because these settings typically do not change all that much throughout the scene. Keeping them in a single central location helps to quickly get a setting that works for most cases and makes managing them easy. There is always a problem in CG images looking too perfect that breaks the illusion. To combat this, we use effects like chromatic aberration, film grain, and vignette to help introduce imperfections in the image. These effects are camera effects that only appear when the lens is used of a lower quality. But having just subtle representation of them in there helps. It's important to never go too heavy on these effects because they have a detrimental effect on image quality. These settings are used scene-wide, and we have them placed in the global volume so we can easily control them. And even turn them off if we decided that is too much. A lot of care is placed in the placement and setup of reflection probes in the scene to make the metallic and wet surfaces stand out, especially important for the humid look we are going for the ground level. HDRP allows reflection probes and planar reflections to capture out to 4K resolution, and we can get highest quality reflections from there. The render layer system is also used to customize what elements will appear in the reflections for a clean result. Especially important to stop unwanted elements from entering the results of planar reflections, which are updated every frame as the camera is rolling. Context shadows are a way to introduce short-length screen space shadows to objects in close contact with each other. Generally, the cascade shadow maps, which are created by the directional light, even at 4K resolution, is not able to accurately shadow these small details. These added context shadows help bring more visual detail to small elements. Examples are the vegetation in the scene and small details of objects like the grates and the shelving you see in the GIF here. Making full use of volumetric fog effects help distinguish the mood differences between the skyline and ground level. Most lights that are tied to a physical preference in the scene, such as doorway lights and the street lamps, uses volumetric fog to add just a bit more visual interest to the scene. The overall fog is also volumetric as well, and the sunlight is used to drive directionality when looking at the skyline. Another important benefit of volumetric fog is conveying a sense of depth in the scene. In addition to using global volumes to control scene-wide effects, we use local volumes to specify how we want the image to look at different places through color grading. These local volumes contain a set of blend distance options so that the transition of moving from one volume to another is smooth. The kind of overrides we put on these local volumes are settings that anyone who may be familiar with DaVinci Resolve or Lightroom will find it easy to get into. A key factor in color grading and post-processing is to only adjust what's needed. So for the local volumes, this means we only override specific parameters when we need them to keep things simple. Most of the broad strokes of the scene are set up within the global volume, and then we use the local volumes to drive specifically how we want these specific areas to look. For example, to make the ground level look more cool and humid, we use color adjustments to increase the saturation and contrast, and through the use of lift, gamma and gain, or the shadows, midtones and highlights parameters, we shift colors based on the different range. Something that can be a powerful tool in working with post-processing is the color curve tool, which we use in an example here for isolating the shadows and desaturating it with the luminance versus saturation override. The other overrides available with the color curve tool are also useful as well, such as the hue versus luminance tool and the hue versus saturation. Putting it all together, the real benefit of working in real time, even though we are targeting a very high quality offline rendered cinematic teaser, is ultimately the ability to instantly see our results. When we are iterating through the scene and trying various things, we do not have to wait to see the results, and we can land on what we want faster. For this teaser, we work with a multi-scene setup. Things will become messy quickly with our initial structure setup, and will prevent everyone from being able to work on the scene at the same time. So here I'll jump into the editor and show off what we just talked about. So here we have, right here in the scene, everything's running in real time. So you can see that within the volume systems, we've divided up into the three volumes. One, the global volume that controls most of the major settings that we need that do not change typically. Things like the sky, which you wouldn't change that much within a scene. Motion blur, film grain, chromatic aberration, and vignette, like we talked about earlier. We also set in place a simple white balance and color adjustments for the initial setup of color grading as the base ground values. So the ground level, a lot of how we get the look that we want is through the use of these three settings. So the shadow, midtones and highlights, the lift, gamma and gain, and subtly just subtly in the shadows and in the dark areas, the color curves too, using the luminance versus saturation value. Like so. So you can see in the shadow, midtones and highlights, the colors are shifted to how I would want to control it. So subtle shifts like so in the shadows and the midtones help to create a lot of the effect that you see here. So as this is a real-time demo, as you can see here, everything's running in real time. There are a few, and because it's going to be a cinematic teaser that's with a defined pre-made camera track. So we know where the camera is and what the audience will be looking at any time. So a few of the tricks that we put into place are this specular only kicker. So these are used at various points where we know they will help bring in a little bit more detail, like for example here with the trash bin and the bicycles, just to catch a little bit more highlight so that you bring them out from the background, so make them pop. So putting it all together, working in real time, it's easy to really quickly iterate and try out different ideas. So for example, we can quickly change out the sky, maybe make a little bit of adjustments on its rotation to get something we like, and maybe do a little bit of additional color grading. Maybe try a different set of colors across the board to see how it will look like with a different mood and feel. Maybe we can tone down some of the effects, and we can present this quickly within minutes or even seconds to quickly see where we're going and how we would like to move on from there. So you can quickly see your results in engine as you're working. And of course, you can always change out the direction of the light if you want to. So to wrap up, we introduced the idea of Kitbashing as a workflow, our partnership with Kitbash 3D, and a look at how we did the demo. Working in real time is a lot like Kitbashing, having a structure in place quickly, and then just spending the remaining time to really explore the ideas until you get something you really like. With the power of the asset store and Unity-ready assets like the packs from Kitbash 3D, together with HDRP to give us high visual quality in real time, it's easy to just get set up on the necessities of the scene fast and get back to having fun creating. Since this is a pre-recorded session, feel free to leave your questions in the YouTube comment section and we'll get to answering them. And with that, thank you.